Hello, my name is Jed Maslewski, and thank you for joining me in this lightning fast lesson with Maz Income Planning Services. This is lesson number 2, Protection of Principal. Why a strong rate of return is good, but protecting your principal is better. Okay, when talking about protection of principal and its importance, I'd like to offer a small quiz right off the bat. It's simple. I'm giving you the opportunity to choose between two initial principal amounts, $5,000 and $7,000. Each principal is going to get a different annual rate of return, and I want you to tell me which principal will have the most money at the end of that year. The $5,000 principal will get a 50% rate of return, while the $7,000 principal will get a 10% rate of return. Which one will have the most money at the end of the year? You got it? If you guessed the $7,000 principal, then congratulations for two reasons. A, it's the correct answer. B, only about 10% of everyone we ask actually answers this question correctly. First, to show you that I'm not crazy, 50% of $5,000 is $2,500, giving you a grand total of $7,500. While 10% of $7,000 is $700, giving you a grand total of $7,700. So what are we saying? Well, the rate of return is important, but the principal, or the amount that the rate of return is added to, is more important. In other words, a high rate of return is most effective only if you have a large principal. So the conclusion is, protect your principal. Let's take a look at another example. We're going to compare two identical $10,000 principals. The principal on the left will get a 10% rate of return the first year, a negative 10% rate of return on the second, a positive 10% rate of return on the third, and finally a negative 10% rate of return on the fourth. The principal on the right will get a 3% rate of return on the first year, a 0% rate of return the second, a 3% rate of return on the third, and a 0% rate of return on the fourth. Is it possible that the principal on the right, with a measly 3% rate of return in years 1 and 3, will have a higher principal amount at the end of those 4 years than the principal on the left? And the answer becomes obvious. Why? Because you protected your principal. I want to introduce you to a principal protection plan called an index strategy, and I want to add that to some real-world numbers. Let's look at the annual rate of returns for the S&P 500 index from 2006 through 2010, 5 years. On the left side, you're going to follow the S&P 500 index exactly, getting both the positive and negative annual rate of returns. On the right side, we're going to follow the same S&P 500 index, but we're going to implement an index strategy plan to the returns. This strategy automatically sets up two key guards on an annual basis. First, it will cap your returns to be no higher than 13% on any annual basis. Second, and most importantly, anytime the S&P 500 index has a negative annual rate of return, you will receive a 0% rate of return. In other words, your principal is automatically protected from losses. How will the two strategies compare? Notice that the returns on the left side have positive returns for 4 out of the 5 years, including returns of 15.79%, 26.46%, and 15.06%, all higher than the capped returns implemented with the index strategy plan. The rate of returns on the right side also have gains in 4 out of the 5 years, but do not have an annual rate of return higher than 13% in any 1 year. The biggest difference, though, protection of principal. In 2008, while the left side suffered a minus 37% rate of return, the right side automatically protected your principal and you received a 0% rate of return. And just look at the difference, over $4,000 between the left principal and the right principal. To make matters worse, the left side will need several years of 20+ percentages in a row without losses to catch up to the returns on the right. Protection of principal, protection of principal, protection of principal. I can't be any more clear. Large rate of returns are fantastic, but it only takes one negative return to set you back a long, long time. And yes, index strategy plans do exist, so don't hesitate to get in contact with us. Let's see if one is right for you. Thank you for participating in our lightning fast lesson, Protection of Principal. Should you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to give me a call, 480-661-1005. Shoot me an email at jed@mazips.com or visit our website, www.mazips.com.